Okay, number one, determine the slope and y-intercept for each graph below. So looking at our first graph, I'm going to find 2 points that I can find the change in y and change in x to find my slope. Okay, so I have a point at 0, 2. And I also have a point at 2 and negative 2. So if I'm finding my slope, I'm going to find my change in my y, which is negative 4. And then I'm going to find the change in my x, which is 2. So to write that as a slope, I'll write it as negative 4 over 2, which equals negative 2. My y-intercept is where the line is crossing my y-axis. So that will be 2. As an equation, I have y equals negative 2x plus 2. Here on my next graph, if I create a table, looking at 2 points, I have a point at negative 4 and negative 4. And I have a point at 0 and 4. So to find the change in my y, from negative 4 to 4 is plus 8. And to find the change in my x, from negative 4 to 0 is plus 4. And as a slope, I'll have 8 over 4, which equals 2. My y-intercept is 4. As an equation, I have y equals 2x plus 4. Okay, number 2. Cell phone company A charges $200 per month plus a one-time activation fee of $50. Cell phone company B charges $110 per month with a $100 activation fee. Write an inequality that can be used to determine when company B will be more expensive than company A. Okay, so I'm going to organize this. I want company B to be greater than company A. So company B, let's start with company B. So it says cell phone company B charges $110 per month with a $100 activation fee. So I'm going to use X for months, and I'll have 110X plus 100. And this represents cell phone company B. And I want them to be greater than cell phone company A, who charges $200 per month. So 200X plus an activation fee of $50 plus 50. So this is my inequality to represent the situation. Number 3, in Dallas it is currently 65 degrees and it is increasing by 2 degrees each hour. In Houston, it is currently 75 degrees and is increasing 1 degree each hour. If the temperature continued to increase at these rates, when would the temperature in Dallas be the same or more than Houston? Write an inequality to represent the situation. Okay, so again, we're not going to solve, we're just going to write an inequality. So I want when Dallas will be the same or more than, so Dallas to be the same or more than, so greater than or equal to Houston. In Dallas, it is currently 65 degrees, and it's increasing by 2 degrees per hour. So I'm going to use x for hours. So plus 2x. That represents Dallas, so I'm going to have greater than or equal to. And Houston, it is currently 75 degrees and is increasing 1 degree each hour. So 75 plus 1x. And I'm going to rewrite this because we're not going to see this 1. So it'll be 65 plus 2x is greater than or equal to 75 plus x. Okay, number 4, determine the rate of change in the table below. Okay, so the rate of change is the same as my slope. So I'm going to find the change in my y. So 2 to negative 2 is minus 4. And the change in my x, 9 to 3, is minus 6. As a slope, I'll have negative 4 over negative 6, which will give me positive 2/3. Number 5, write an equation for the table. So I need y equals mx plus b is the form I'm going to write my equation in, meaning I need to find my slope, my y-intercept. So beginning with our slope, I'm going to find my change in y, change in x. So I can pick any 2 points. So I'm going to do 3 to 11 plus 8, and 0 to 2 is plus 2. So 8 over 2 is 4. So my slope is 4. My y-intercept is where x is 0, so my y-intercept is 3. So now as an equation, I have y equals 4x plus 3. Okay, number 6, David invests $10,000 in a savings account that pays 3.5% simple interest. If David makes no withdrawals or deposits to the account, how much will be in the account after 7 years? Okay, so my simple interest formula is I, interest equals PRT. So plugging into my formula, to calculate my interest, I'm going to do my principal of $10,000 times my rate, so my 3.5% as a decimal, which is 0.035. Remember, we took 3.5 and divided by 100. And then times the amount of time, so 7 years. So my interest is $2,450, but it wants to know how much I'm going to have after 7 years, like how much will I have total. So I had 10,000, or David had 10,000. and he earned an interest of 2,450. So we're going to add these. And this gets me the total in my account, 12,450. Okay, number 7, Garrison deposited $500 in an account that earns 5% interest compounded annually. If he makes no withdrawals or deposits, how much will be in his account after 4 years? Okay, my compound interest formula is A equals P1 plus R to the T power. Okay, so plugging in my formula, I'll have A equals 500 is my principal times 1 plus my rate of 5% is divided by 100, which equals 0.05. And my time in years is 4. So my principal was 500, my rate was 0.05, and my time was 4. Okay, we get an approximate amount of $607.75. Number 8, quadrilateral ABCD, was translated 4 units to the left and 2 units up. Which rule describes the translation that was applied to the quadrilateral ABCD to create quadrilateral A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime? Okay, so we want to go 4 to the left, which would change my X values. So to go 4 to the left, I want to do X minus 4. And 2 units up, which is going to change my Y values. 2 units up is going to be plus 2. So I'm looking for X minus 4, Y plus 2, which is C. Number 9, write a rule for the transformation below. So if I look at my transformation, I can see I would definitely want to use my patty paper, but I could see that this is flipped below. It's flipped over my x-axis. So my x-axis is my mirror. It's a reflection. So writing this as a rule, I'm going to take a point. I'm going to take this point right here. Actually, I try to take a point that the numbers are different for X and Y. And here I have -3 and 3, which sometimes can be confusing. So I'm going to take these points. So taking, if this was my original, and this was my new, I have -3 and 5 in my original. And in my new one, I have -3 and -5. Okay, so what I can see that happened is this Y value became opposite of what it was before. So to write that as a rule, I'm going to have X, Y changes to X, the opposite of Y. Okay, number 10, the pre-image MNOP has vertices M, N, O, and P. A transformation is applied to create the image MNOP prime, which has vertices of MNOP prime. Which rule represents this transformation? Okay, so I'm going to take one of my original points, which is MNOP, and take one of my new points, which is the MNOP prime, and compare those. It doesn't matter which ones I take. The decimal might be confusing, so I might take something that's a whole number. So I have 2 and 4 and 8 and 16. And I'm looking for how these numbers are related to each other. So this was n, and this is n prime. So I can see to get from 2 to 8, I can multiply by 4, which I can also do to my y value to get from 4 to 16. I can multiply by 4. So I'm going to check one more point. Looking at O, I have 5 and 4, and O prime, I have 20 and 16. I want to make sure this rule is true for this one as well. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 4 times 4 is 16. So it looks like I am multiplying by 4. And the answer choice that shows me multiplying by 4 is C. Well, XY yields 4X 4Y.